Right now, we're in the middle of our fourth week together. We're finishing up the discussion board for week three. And week three was the week in which we discussed teams, what teams are good for, what they're not good for, and how leadership is a particularly necessary skill to help teams move along. And I thought it would be a good time as we're finishing up the discussion to tell you a little story and help you understand how just critical leadership is and can be for good teams. A number of years ago, I worked for an organization that had a claims department. Claims department was run by a vice president. He had 10 supervisors who worked for him, and each one of the supervisors had a team of claims analysts. One year, the vice president got together with all his 10 supervisors, and he said, every year, I decide what the goals and objectives for our department should be for the following year. This year, I looked at the 10 of you to decide the goals and objectives for our department in the next year. It truly was a very open and participative thing to do. So the 10 claims supervisors agreed that they do it. They went into a meeting room one Friday morning, closed the door behind them. Now, to give you a little bit of background, they were all very bright, relatively young, very good at what they did, and fairly aggressive. And there was almost a jockeying amongst them as to who would be the all-star of all the supervisors. Well, they went into the meeting room that Friday, were in there about 2 hours, left, and wouldn't talk about what took place. And a lot of people were watching because this was a new thing for a vice president to let his supervisors decide what the goals and objectives should be. Following Friday, same time, they went into the meeting room, came out after about 2 hours, and you could just tell by the looks on their faces that they were tired and worn. They had a long 2-hour meeting. Still, when they were asked what they did, they said, well, we really can't talk about it. The next Thursday, one of them came up to me and said, John, we've been meeting now. We've had 2 2-hour meetings. And we think maybe it would help if we had a facilitator to help us solve our problem. I said, okay. And I said, now look, you're not there to tell us what the goals and objectives should be. We just want you there in case you think there's anything you could do to help us have a more productive meeting. And I said, fine. Next Friday morning, when they went into the room, I followed them. And within just a couple of minutes, it was very apparent where they were after meeting for 4 hours. 5 of them felt very strongly that when you're out to achieve goals and objectives, the goals are what you want to achieve, but the objectives are the steps to get there. The other 5 said, oh no, it's the objective that you want to achieve, and the goals are the steps to get there. It's where they were after 4 hours of meetings. So I helped them along, and eventually they solved that problem. You see, what was going on in the room is none of them realized that the true measure of leadership in a team is not the one who gets his point across loudest, or not the one whose idea ultimately prevails, but is the individual who helps that team solve their problem. And none of them were willing to do that. They were all too tied up in whether it should be a goal that you want to achieve or an objective that you want to achieve. I tell you that story because I know that a lot of you are on teams at work. And I know that a lot of you have strong ideas and strong opinions and very often feel that the person whose idea comes out number one is always the team that wins. Not true. On a team, in leadership, very often it's the individual who helps that team and their idea come through who's most instrumental in their success and who is ultimately viewed as a leader. Okay, a couple of quick announcements. It's Wednesday. Usually you get your feedback this week. You will get your feedback tomorrow, probably late in the day. I'll send you weekly feedback plus your first journal entries graded so you can see where you are, give you a pretty good idea of where you stand at this point in the semester midway. And also next Tuesday at 8 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Central Time Tuesday, we're going to have a WebEx meeting. Give me an opportunity to talk to each one of you, even if it's just virtually, to see if you have any thoughts, for me to make sure that the course is moving in the direction that it's moving, answer any questions you might have. Maybe I'll tell you another story. I like to tell stories. And it'll be the first of probably we'll have one in week 5, one in week 6, and week 7. So hope you look forward to that. I'll send you more particulars, but it'll be on webinar, and we'll get together next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. If you have any questions, you have any concerns, as always, give me a call. And if not, you'll hear from me tomorrow. Give me a buzz if you need anything. Now you'll see me back on Blackboard. Have a good week. Bye-bye.